It's not my style to stick with people, so if I see an opportunity to do something different, I'll do it.
I think some pilots should start to push, yeah, including me.
And welcome to this Grand Prix. It was interesting to have this question to the pilots. Why they are liking to push today?
Well, it's very close at the top, and you've got only two chances, today and tomorrow, to make it. And so they decide today they must go.
It was a pretty easy start with 1,800 meters maximum, and I think just after the start it was okay, but further to the west it was quite difficult already.
Yeah, we saw that Sebastian and a little group dropped a long way behind, and some pilots managed to pull 10-15 kilometers ahead.
It was already difficult on a turn point one for Mike Young and Alberto Cironi, really low, and they had to pull out the engines.
That's what they get when we're talking about pushing hard. They pushed maybe a little too hard.
On the second leg, Tilo Holighaus, who was in the lead, made a bit of a mistake and was alone compared to the group a bit on the right of the screen, and they were able to take the lead at the end.
After the second turning point, Yankee and Giorgio Galetto and a group of pilots pulled away very, very, very quickly, and they made a 10-kilometer lead halfway down the first leg.
But not so far away behind. Finally, Sebastian Kawa and his group made the decision to go further to the highest peak to make more altitude.
And of course, inevitably, they came together. On the top of the peaks, both groups joined together, and from then they run the ridges all the way to the southernmost turning point.
For a while there was a bit of management of the race with nobody wanted to take the lead, but at the end, they just entering this space around with Valley, they took the decision to make a ridge running.
And of course, inevitably, it's Stefan Langer who was making the pace and pulling ahead and deciding what the style of flying should be.
So back from this valley, Tilo Holighaus made the best on the ridge running, and he was able to pull out a bit from the group.
Tilo took a big risk, and he went on and on getting lower, but he did find a good climb.
And compared to Sebastian Kawa was at the bottom, he had a lot of struggle. Also, Stefan Langer was a bit behind this group, and he took a completely decision different to the north compared to this main group.
Sebastian was forced to move on. He didn't climb, and he joined John Gatfield very low just before the airfield of Pavullo.
And Stefan Langer was coming to another hill, but at the end he took no lift.
While Sebastian and John dragged themselves up out of the valley, Tilo and his friends, they joined much higher, plenty of altitude for final glide, and they took that all the way back to the finish line.
So let's check with Tilo what was going on and why it was so bumpy in the air.
At the beginning it really ran very good, and as you said, suddenly the weather got very strange. We got all low, we had to use the ridge, and I was a little bit afraid to use the ridge circling, so I made 8, I lost a lot, and just a few hundred meters were missing to make it over the ridge to a better place. So then I fall completely out and I had to do something else. We saw coming further to the east that the weather was deteriorating. We all slowed down, and that was a little bit my luck, because then of course I could catch up, and then the ridge was working again, not as good as yesterday. It was about 15 kph wind, but it was enough to keep the altitude, so kept on pushing. Eventually the pack started circling in a okay thermal, and I took all risk and continued to fly, and I found an even better thermal, and that was it at the end.
And the winner, a really hard fought race. There could have been a lot of winners today, but the person who was ahead at the end was in his Ventus 3, of course, 105.5 kilometers now, Tilo Holighaus in 3 Victor. Congratulations to all the winners. Let's get the bottles up, boys.